Martin feckin' McDonagh is feckin' back with a new feckin' film, and it's actually his first feckin' film he's ever made in feckin' Ireland. Feckin' hell.
Can't be waiting around for any more of this madness.
Let's just call it quits.
We won't call it quits. We'll call it the start.
The Banshees of Inisherin was probably just about my most anticipated film of the year, at least in the top 5. If you know me, you'd probably know that Martin McDonagh is one of my favourite filmmakers. His previous 3 films, In Bruges, Seven Psychopaths, and 3 Billboards, they are all among some of my favourite films of all time. I think they're all perfect movies for different reasons and in different ways, but he has a real signature style and just his writing style and his dark humor I've always loved, and I've always just found it hilarious and endlessly rewatchable and revisitable. And I think Banshees of Inisherin is going to join that club because it is an excellent film and one of the finest films of the year. It's deceptively simple. It's set in 1923 in a fictional island in Ireland, and it's about these 2 characters who have been lifelong friends. And every day they head to the pub at 2 p.m. or whatever time it is, and have some pints and chat, and that's just their life. They don't ask for much from life. And Padraic Sullivan, which is maybe the most Irish name of all time. I'm probably not pronouncing it right, but Padraic, played by Colin Farrell, he is a pretty simple guy, maybe a bit of a dullard to some, but he's the type of guy who really doesn't ask for much in life. And his friend Colm, played by Gleeson, reuniting the pair after In Bruges, which is just such a delight. He has more lofty aspirations for his life, and he's intelligent, and he one day decides he just no longer wants to be friends with Padraic anymore. He says, "You're dull, and I'd rather spend my time focusing on my interests and speaking to more intelligent people." And Padraic just can't get his head around it. He doesn't understand. It's like, we've been friends forever. I don't, and that's your movie, basically. There's more to it than that, but it really is a film about confusing and pointless conflict, which is a not so subtle microcosm for the Irish Civil War, which is going on in the background in the film. And the characters don't really take much notice of it. It doesn't really affect their lives, but it is a film about pointless conflict and how these conflicts never end. And I guess I won't say more if you haven't seen it, but this goes to some pretty depressing places. I wasn't really expecting it to be McDonagh's bleakest film, but it kind of is in a lot of ways, especially towards the end. But it's very, very funny. One of the funniest films of the year, if not the funniest. And there's a couple jokes in particular that really brought the house down, and I'm very, very excited to hear again once it comes out here, because it's not out here. I had to watch it at a film festival. But anyway, the film itself, it's probably McDonagh's most accomplished effort in terms of directing and cinematography. It's a really good-looking film, uses light and darkness really well, captures the location very well. The location very much is a character, as it is with most of his films. Like, Bruges is, named after a location, as is 3 Billboards. And, they're very informed by this small town speak, or the way In Bruges was informed by Bruges. And this is no different. It's a small town where people lead simple lives, and that it makes these seemingly insignificant characters and these insignificant conflicts seem Shakespearean and epic in vibes. And this film really does have a Shakespearean tragedy sort of aura to it, and I really love that. Carter Burwell's music is gorgeous, probably just as good, if not better, than the music he did for 3 Billboards, and I could easily see this one getting an Oscar nomination as well. And the acting from everyone is just sensational. Colin Farrell, who I'm sure you've heard about, guaranteed will get an Oscar nomination for this. Probably won't win because, who's beaten Brendan Fraser, but it's one of the best performances of his career, and it's definitely going to land him his first Oscar nomination. He's so lovable. He has so many great facial expressions. His comedic timing is just... it's a brilliant, full, all-rounded performance. And Brendan Gleeson is excellent too. Should land his first Oscar nomination as well. It's a less showy performance, but I think he's doing a lot more here than some people are giving him credit for. He's a very stonewalling, prickly sort of character, but he's also full of these contradictions. Like, Colm is such an enigma. He's genuinely one of the most confusing human beings I've ever seen, but in a way that's really interesting and in a way that works. And Brendan Gleeson really brings that to life. And then you've got two excellent scene-stealing supporting performances here from Kerry Condon, who you might know from Better Call Saul. She got her start acting in one of McDonagh's plays, actually, so it's great to see him bring her to the forefront in a film. She had a small role in 3 Billboards as well. But here she plays Padraic's sister. She's very strong-headed, and she's very, very funny, and she's kind of the heart of the film in some ways. And she's a scene stealer. She's excellent. She's calling everyone on their shit, but not in a way that feels like obnoxious or fake. Like, she's a character who kind of feels like she deserves more than this town, in spite of how much she sort of loves it and loves her brother and wants to help him. And she's a really great character. And then Barry Keoghan, who I am a huge fan of. You'd know him from Killing of a Sacred Deer, Dunkirk, recently The Eternals. He's one of my favorite up-and-coming actors. He's just always such an interesting and unique presence. He plays a lot of freaks and weirdos, and he does so again here, but he does so in a more lovable sort of way. His character's a bit of a menace and a bit annoying, but he's also kind of heartbreaking in a lot of ways. And, even if you can't understand what he's saying half the time, because he's very strong Irish accent, it's a delightful performance, and I really wanted him and Kerry Condon. I almost wish the film was 20 minutes longer because I just wanted more of their characters. I'm not saying we were shortchanged. I'm just saying they were a delight, just as much of a delight as the main characters. As for issues, I really don't have any issues for this film. That being said, I don't think it's perfect, and I don't think I like it as much as McDonagh's other films, but that's a really high bar to clear, and it's more that this is one that I think I'm going to appreciate more on subsequent viewings, just as I did with 3 Billboards. I walked out of that one really loving it, but not quite thinking it's not quite there. And then I watched it again and it sort of came together for me. So I'm fully expecting that to happen here. That being said, it's a damn near perfect film. Again, if I had any issues, maybe I wish it was a bit longer to flesh out some of these side characters a bit more. And it kind of just left me feeling miserable, and not in a sort of cathartic, that was a great film, that was really sad sort of way. It just genuinely made me feel really bad about life. And I know that was kind of the point in the idea, but I guess I just walked out feeling a little flat. So I'm very excited to see it again I'm sure I'm going to like it a lot more. That being said, it's a fantastic film and one of the finest films of the year. The Banshees of Inisherin, I am going to give it a 9 out of 10. It's not only one of my favorite films of the year, it's one of the best reviewed films of the year. It's converting a lot of people who don't like some of McDonagh's previous films. A lot of people are coming out and saying it's his best film, which I totally understand, even if I don't fully agree. But it's going to be a big award season player, and it's going to be talked about over the next few months. Lock it in for Best Picture, Screenplay nominations. Farrell and Gleeson, definitely. Kerry Condon, definitely. And at this point, I'm even warming to the idea of Barry Keoghan getting a nomination. I think some of these other films might start cancelling each other out, but that's something I'll talk about more in my Oscar video. But yeah, that being said, this is going to be one of the biggest and best films of the year, and it's one that I really encourage you checking out if you get the chance, if you're interested, because I think it's one that is pretty universal, and I think just about anyone could enjoy it, cinephiles and casual viewers alike. That's it for my review of Banshees of Inisherin. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments. Follow me on Letterboxd. Follow me on Instagram. That's sort of where I post everything I'm doing. That'll all be in the description below. As always, have a wonderful day. Keep watching movies.